What's up, nerds? So, we were hoping to have our review of Superman this week, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Long story short, my wife and I, we are moving closer to the church uh, in Ingersoll, and our kids are going to be attending the school that we're starting, and we just generally want to be closer to church and friends. But the reason why that impacts the show is we sold our house and we have to move pretty quickly, so we're really busy right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see behind me, there's lots of boxes. We are moving pretty quick. And so that is pretty much having to take up a ton of my time. And then Nate and I are both actually away at a work event next week. So life is a little bit crazy right now. So unfortunately, we weren't able to go see the movie and record it. So for this week and likely next, we're also going to drop a couple of our other popular episodes from the last 6 months. But our hope is that we will be back able to review the new Fantastic Four movie. And in that, we'll probably talk about Superman a bit as well. Hopefully, we can go see it. But so that's why you're not seeing the Superman. We wish we could. I know we had said that we would be doing it, but unfortunately, it just didn't really work out. So, Lord willing, we'll be able to be back in a few weeks, and we will be reviewing Fantastic Four. So we just hope that you would enjoy this episode that we're doing with Dr. Boot. This was actually our most viewed episode that we've had, where Dr. Joe Boot talks about Star Trek. So we hope you enjoy, and until next time, stay nerdy. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Reforming Nerdom podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jordan Cecile. I am joined today by the one and only Ben Jammin, a.k.a. Ben of the Cloth, a.k.a. Ben Emery. Ben, how you doing?
I am doing just fine. Thank you very much.
Cool. Glad you're here. And we are joined by a very special guest. And if you have been listening to the show for any length of time, this gentleman will be no stranger. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Brent Baufman of Baufman Bricks. Brent, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great that we got you on here, because I mean, we've been promoting your show for quite a while on the podcast, and I mean, I can say from personal experience, I've been extremely blessed by your content. So why don't you, for those who maybe haven't been around since the beginning, why don't you take a second and just
Or
let
for
people
those
know?
or for those losers that press the +30 button when
Yeah,
the
get out
ads
of here.
come up.
Yeah, who just jumped to no, yeah, get out of here. So why don't you just take a second, let everybody know who you are and what you do, and kind of why you're here.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I was so happy to see you guys come on podcasts and YouTube and just see you guys come out into space because I'd heard about you through an ad and I was like, "Oh, this is right up my alley." Nerd podcasts and just the stuff I'm interested in because I've listened to secular podcasts that just I get annoyed with because they constantly will, seep in what they want to talk about and it's not in congruence with my beliefs. When you guys hit the stage and started covering Skeleton Crew, I started listening. I was like, oh, I need to connect with these guys because I do Lego Star Wars mock builds, which a mock build is a my own creation. We'll get more into that, I'm sure, in the details of how I got into that. But yeah, I recreate Lego Star Wars. I sell those online. I have a YouTube channel that helps kind of market that and show off what I do. So that way people know, like, oh, I can trust this. I can build this. And I've actually had quite a bit of success over the last year. I've only been doing it for a little over a year now. And I've really hit a nice little chunk of change I can make on the side
Hmm.
with this side venture of mine. So that's a brief little rundown of what I've been doing in the kind of Lego community, and really cool to connect with you guys.
Yeah, no, it's
Awesome.
we're excited to have you here. Now, how do you find the mock community? Is it a welcoming place? Is it cutthroat in terms of like you versus the other guys, or what's that community like?
Very welcoming. I'm
Yeah.
very section off. I'm very just like I haven't connected. I haven't gone to conferences. I'm not against some. I'm a very homebody type of person. I've been looking at potentially going to some conferences here in Florida. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, so maybe Orlando or something like that. But online, the people I've interacted with, and just like on YouTube, I've had a lot of interaction. It's been really great. The place where people share mocks is typically Rebrickable. That's where a user can go upload what they've created, and it's available. You can make it free, or you can have paid um, uh, mocks that you put up there that people are interested in downloading and building. But there's also like many other mock builders. There's like companies, organizations like Brickvault is a really substantial one that has a lot of really great Star Wars mock builds. Um, but to answer your question, like how inviting, how is the community? Like I said, really great. People give me really good feedback. They, compliment me a lot on my builds. And the only reason why I got into it is I had posted some pictures of what I've been building on Reddit, and somebody said, "Hey, are there instructions?" And then I got that comment again on another one. Hey, are there instructions? And I was like, well, I should look into these instructions and what that, like, how do you even get into this? And so then once I realized, like, all you have to do is just download this free software from Bricklink. It's called Studio. And I'm pretty good in software. I'm a graphic designer, so it kind of came second nature to me. Um, and then I started uploading the actual instructions. People have been really accepting. They're really accepting when I started posting pictures. So, really good community that I've interacted with so far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been I would say I see that similarly just, since, I got back into building Lego. I used to be a huge Lego kid growing up, and I hadn't really done anything aside from helping my kids build their little sets until we saw your stuff, and I saw the Millennium Falcon, and I was like, "Well, I mean, I have a bookshelf behind me that needs some nerd stuff on it." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do this." And, it's actually been really cool to see that, when you're, like, talking to people online. So, like, I've bought some other sets, to, like, build with my kids, and, I mean, some of them for myself, but when you're interacting with people who are into Lego, like, it is a very, like, friendly community
Yeah.
where I've, like, met guys in a parking lot to, like, buy a set off 'em, and then we're just sitting there talking about sets that we want, and he's like, "Oh,
That's
yeah, I'm
awesome.
selling this one because I wanna buy this one," and it's just such it has, like, a similar feeling almost to, I mean, like, back in the day when I used to be a smoker, and you could go outside and have a conversation with somebody and just, like, over a cigarette, and then
Yes,
you
we
walk
we have
away.
this one thing in common,
Yeah,
therefore
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
and
friends
it's
now,
like
yeah.
it was just an interesting thing seeing that similar kind of thing with Lego, where you could just sit there and talk about something as simple as these, advanced interlocking brick systems,
Yeah,
that people just, like, love, and it's
yeah.
it's really cool to see that.
I'll
So,
add
yeah.
too, um, the Star Wars community has a lot of bros, like, so I like especially like the prequel bros. Like, I'm more of an original trilogy fan, but like the younger guys, a little bit younger than me, they're really the prequels.
Mhm.
I kind of appreciate them. They're a little more based than a lot of nerd fan bases out there. So
Okay.
I appreciate the bros in the Star Wars community, and it shows it kind of just in their mentality and their view towards things. They're a lot of engineers,
Good.
kind of those very structured minded guys who are also very creative. So I like those kind of
Like,
guys.
is there, maybe you actually have an opinion on this, but is there a better sort of franchise for Lego than is Star Wars not, like, made for Lego? Am I wrong there? Like, it
Oh
just
yeah,
seems like such
absolutely,
a match.
absolutely. So before Star Wars, the official IP came to Lego, I and my brother would try to build Lego Star Wars, and there's a whole you guys should look into it. It's a great there's this guy, I forgot, I think he's some Japanese guy who was making incredible builds before you had the pieces to make them correctly, and he was doing fantastic work back in the 90s, maybe even the 80s, with making Lego Star Wars. And so kids were making Lego Star Wars before we had the
Yeah.
correct pieces,
Before you
before
were allowed. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like, it was tough too because, like, we had so much more blocky pieces back then. And then when the IP came along, that's right around the time I was starting to kinda age out of it, like, into my teens, and so, um, I kinda went, away from Lego for a while, and then when I came back, I was like, "Man, these pieces are amazing, they're so much more intricate, there's so much many more, finishing pieces to make the details you need with, Lego Star Wars ships." So, I had always sought to create Lego Star Wars when I didn't really have the ability with the pieces I had. Um, and then, yeah, when Star Wars came along, I believe I heard somewhere that George Lucas very much wanted Lego to partner with him. He's like, "Yeah, I want them to partner with Star Wars." And ever since that marriage, it's been, I think, Lego's bestseller every
Mhm.
year.
Yep.
If not,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
top
I
I
think
mean,
five.
so.
Yeah,
Lucas was a better toy maker than he was a
Oh, yeah.
movie maker.
Yeah. He was genius as far as like keeping the franchising for all the merchandise. So
Yeah.
yeah, genius. Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's actually Star Wars that saved Lego, like, ultimately,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it's when they started getting into the third-party licensed, sets and builds that it actually skyrocketed, and any year, 'cause it was I think was it Netflix maybe, that show where it's, like, Toys That
Yes.
Oh
Made Us
yeah,
or something like
yep.
that?
Toys That Built America
Toys
or
That
whatever.
Built
Yeah.
Us or whatever it was, and it was either in that or another documentary I was watching where they were saying how there was an inverse sales relationship between a Star Wars or a Harry Potter movie coming out and sales, and so, like, every year there was a massive drop in revenue for Lego because so many people were buying Star Wars and, interestingly, Harry Potter. Harry Potter was the
Yeah.
other huge Lego franchise.
Interestingly, those are the two. Like that's all the sets my kids have are Star Wars
Yeah,
and Harry Potter.
yeah.
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 Yeah, those
No.
are the ones. So I actually have, I need to put it together now because my problem is all my Lego from when I was younger was all just thrown into boxes. So I had 2 sets, one of them that's actually, I think, worth an okay amount right now, Fort Legorado.
Yep.
That was one that was, again, yeah, like, over, like, 25 years ago. But then there was an Anakin with his pod, and it's, like, a 20th anniversary one that you could have gotten at some point, but I have it, and I have all the pieces, and I have my Anakin minifig, and so now it's like, I want my daughter to find the pieces so I can rebuild it because I know I have all the pieces, but she's using some of the pieces for other things, and it's like, can I just have that back? Because I really wanna build the Anakin pod. It's like, I
That's
mean, you're
awesome.
fine. I'll buy
Yeah.
you another set. How about that? Right? I'll go buy you something else. I'll go buy you one of the Friends things or, one of the Dream sets, but, yeah, very cool. Well, before we get too far into, your process, 'cause I do actually wanna hear the process, what you do, how you decide a set, which ones you wanna do, which ones or yeah, like, what you actually do to make it more accurate, and kind of I'd love for you to explain what makes your mock sets distinct and unique from other ones, because I think that's a thing that you're doing something unique and different from other guys who are even in the Lego Star Wars space. But before we do that, we typically like to, as you would know, Brent, like to do a rapid fire, what kind of nerd are you, with anybody we have on the show as a guest. Just so our listeners can get a sense for Brent Baufman, what kind of nerd are you? So you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Obviously, Star Wars.
There you go. Lord of the Rings or Narnia?
Really tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Lord of the Rings because it is the perfect trilogy.
Mhm.
Because they hit the movies the right way. I've read the books Narnia more frequently, so it's a really tough one because I love Narnia. But I'm gonna have to go Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Marvel or DC?
DC.
Okay. What would you be your favorite superhero of DC?
Probably Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite video game console?
I'm gonna have to go with the Nintendo Switch. Like, I know it's the latest one, but man, like, I love that thing. It's awesome. Like, it's
Yeah.
so versatile. It's so easy to pick up and play with my kids. Like, it's a great system. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I really think they changed the game when they made
Yeah.
it dockable but it was
Yeah.
handheld. Because I mean, for me, I almost always play video games now I play it on my Steam Deck and just stream my PlayStation
Yeah.
to it, but I almost never sit down in front
When
of a
you get
TV.
kids,
Yeah.
and like you can just pick it up and play, and like an infant can lay on you on your chest, and you can recline back.
Yep.
Like that's it. That changed the game for me, man.
Yep.
Like it was like, oh, I can game and have kids. This is
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, those don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
It is possible.
Yeah.
All right, favorite cartoon growing up?
Probably Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
There
Yep,
were a
nice.
few Dexter's Lab I really liked, but like at the end, like Dragon Ball Z was just too cool. It was too
Yep.
cool. Yeah.
Favorite action hero?
So I thought about this one, and I'm gonna say Chris Pratt, not because he's Hollywood's it man, or at least he was for a very hot moment, because like within almost a year span, he starred in Jurassic Park, he starred in the Lego Movie and Guardians of the Galaxy, and when he did that, I was like, dude, who is this guy? He is hitting
Yeah.
all the
And
IPs I love, like
And Mario.
and Mario,
well,
yeah, that
and
yeah.
at that exact same time, they were talking about recasting Indiana Jones with him
Oh
as
yeah.
well. They never did, but they
Yeah.
that was in in talks.
Well, and I don't know if you're a Jack Carr Terminal List fan, but he's also James Reese.
That's right.
Right? And it's just,
Yep.
yeah, you keep going down the list. It's like,
He
man, he's
has
had a
all the
good
cool
run.
roles. Yeah.
I know.
It
Yeah,
might have been
he's-
like Russell Crowe before that, but like that one year, Lego, Jurassic Park, and
They-
Guardians is like,
they-
golly.
Speaking of Russell, they really had like an inverse career where Chris Pratt started as like the fat,
That's so true.
Like unassuming.
and turned into the big buff superhero, and
Yeah.
Russell Crowe's really done the opposite,
Yeah.
which I
yes.
respect. But
Yeah.
Yeah, he's older. He's fine. He's living his best life now. All right, and last but not least, I mean, I have a suspicion as to what the answer will be to this, but favorite nerd activity.
Lego, building Lego, of course. However, I'll give you a little extra one here. I have played every mainline game generation of Pokemon. So
Really?
I have way too much Pokemon knowledge in my head. I might be noping out here soon. It's been such a drain.
Okay.
It's way too time consuming, but I've played all 9 generations. Or we at 10. I think we're at 9. I think we're coming on 10. Whenever
Good for
that.
you.
Yeah.
So that's going back. That's not OG Game Boy. Would that be Game Boy Advance, or was it? It didn't. It wasn't an OG Game Boy thing at that point, right?
I had it on Game Boy Color.
Yeah,
Game Boy Color?
had
Okay.
it on, right?
So it was even
released
back
on
then.
original Game Boy 2. My first Nintendo system I owned was a Game Boy Color, and that's when I played it.
Crazy.
I don't know if it was on the original Game Boy. I'd have to go check.
I
but
don't
definitely
think
Game Boy
I
Color.
don't think it
Yeah.
was, but
Okay.
maybe. Yeah.
So one thing I've always wondered with those games, because they always release 2, right? Like different colors. Like, what is the deal with that? And do you need to have both to like ultimately beat it, or does it?
I've
I've
never
actually
understood
matter?
that.
Yeah.
I've never
No,
understood that.
It's a cash grab.
Yeah, that's all it is. Okay.
I mean, a little bit's cool is like, my brother, me and my brother shared a Game Boy, and we shared Pokemon Blue, which that wasn't going to work. So then eventually my brother got his own Game Boy and he got Red. And so then there was like only like 5 Pokemon I couldn't get in my version, which he couldn't get in his version. So it's like, oh, I want Kangaskhan. Then he brings it over here. And then, So like, there was kind of a cool, like you had to work with somebody, like there were certain Pokemon you had to trade and they evolve only if you trade them. It was a bit gimmicky. It still is very gimmicky. It's a very gimmicky franchise. So there's some coolness to that, some, cooperation and, partnering up. But overall, it felt like a cash grab. Yeah.
So, it was released on the original Game Boy.
Okay.
Yellow, red, and blue were released in the original Game Boy, which again, kind of hilarious to have different colors released on a colorless game system. But then they re-released yellow, like an enhanced version of yellow.
Okay, I
when
remember that.
when the Game Boy Color came out. Yeah.
Nice.
It's that kind of makes me think of, or like kind of the connection between Lego and Pokemon, like those parallels, because there's like the collector community, the collector world. Because a friend of mine, he's a successful entrepreneur and he's started many businesses, and he was just telling me he has this new Pokemon card business. So he's selling the rated Pokemon cards.
Oh yeah.
And he was telling me the amount of money that he's making from these rated Pokemon cards. Absolutely unbelievable. It's like, yeah, like on the weekend I spent X amount of dollars and I spent my whole weekend opening cards. And he's like, I made like on just opening these cards, he like 10x'd his money that he spent on these. And he's like, I'm not even done. And it's just, it's unbelievable.
I never got into the cards, and they're ridiculous. The apps, I've heard the prices. I'm like, what? Like I got some as a kid just because I wanted my holographic Blastoise. I traded away half my deck to my friend to get that. But I just wanted to look at it because it looked cool. But I never played them. I just like looking at them, and then I sold all my cards away for like $11, which was like, terrible to now see how much they're worth now. But
Yeah. Ben, did you ever play the cards growing up?
No, never, not one single time. Yeah, like I had a few, right? Like just being in grade school or whatever, you have some and you trade them, and same thing. Like they're just fun to look at or whatever, but never once played the game.
Yeah, it was a blind spot for me. I mean, yeah, never. But I mean, now you see the value of it, so it's like kudos to those who maybe held on to them, and now it's like, well played. You just possibly like bought your kid a house, or like seriously.
Yeah, I'm making up for it with the Star Wars card game that I now play with my kids. So
Yeah,
There
you guys
you
still
go.
into that?
Yeah, a new set just released the other day, so we bought a couple packs
Nice.
after jujitsu. Walked down to the game store and ripped open a couple packs, and it's still, as a 30-something-year-old man, one of the most satisfying. Like that first rip on a pack is just
Yeah.
just glorious. Yeah,
Well, it's like real life tangible loot boxes. That's all you're doing,
yeah,
right? It's
Oh
it's
yeah,
this
yeah.
it's
yeah,
Yeah.
legit.
right. Yeah. So I was wanting to get into that. Not necessarily the Star Wars one, although my kids now all adore Star Wars. We've watched the
Well,
first
dude,
6
I've
and
got
we've
I've
watched
got
Skeleton Crew. So
I've
I
got enough cards to whip up a couple like little decks for you guys to
Okay,
try it
but
for sure.
okay, like, Ben, we'll actually have to talk about that because, like, previously, I would have thought, what was it, like, Arcana or something? There's, like, the Disney deck building game that you can get now,
Lorcana, and apparently
Arcana.
it's terrible, I
Yeah,
guess.
and it's just, like, I
Yeah.
thought, okay, because deck building games are a lot of fun. Like, I had played a Warhammer one for a while, and I had a lot of fun with it, but now my kids are obsessed with Star Wars, and they just wanna watch Star Wars, talk about Star Wars. They were playing with my, Razor Crest that's, like, 60% built right now on the weekend, and they're just adoring everything with Star Wars, so I just wanna just keep building into that, and that's what actually makes I'm glad that the set only cost me $60 for right now at least, 'cause, so I'm building it, and then once I'm able to get the parts to then build, Brent, your custom one, I'm just building it and keeping it right now, but now it's like, "Oh, I'll let my kids play with it," like, they're not gonna I'm not too worried about it, but once it's
Yeah.
finalized, it's like, "You don't touch this is daddy's.
This is
You do not."
this is an art piece now.
Yeah, yeah, you like, and it's so funny because Haddon, my son, I don't know if you can with the camera right now, but like my set is behind me on my bookshelf, and there's times where if I'm in here working and not paying attention, I look back and he's standing on the arm of the couch and he's just like trying to touch. It's like, get no, that is off limits. You
Uh,
ask me, but yeah. So, anyways, it's fun. So, all right. Well, why don't we before Brent we get into uh, kind of talking to you a little bit more about your history with Lego and what led you to doing this in a bit more detail. I just want to do for our listeners and our viewers just a little bit of a history of Lego because there's it's actually a pretty fascinating story and it's a lot older. It's actually approaching 100 years old at this
Yep.
point,
Yep.
which is wild to think. So Lego, for those who don't know, it was founded in 1932 by a Danish carpenter named Ole Kirk Christensen, and it was started by making wooden toys. And Lego comes from the Danish phrase leg godt, which means play well, which makes sense. That's fun. It then transitioned to building Lego bricks, or sorry, plastic bricks in the late 1940s. And it is now, where is it here? Just looking at some stats. Like, yeah, it is now expanded into like they have their own lines of sets, but then now there's Star Wars, there's their own internal ones, Lego City, Lego Technic, Lego Castle, Bionicle, but then there's Marvel, DC, Minecraft, Harry Potter, Barbie, you name it. There's just franchises um, across the map, and they have built. It's an estimated over 600 billion bricks since 1958. 600 billion bricks, and they make about 1,000 bricks per second.
Jeez.
it's a pretty unfathomable
Yeah.
number.
And their tolerance, so like these things are made with such precision, it's like a 0.005 millimeter level of tolerance. So like these things are made, I mean, I have never actually had in playing or building Lego a piece that didn't fit like well. Like it's
But
they
but which is why you instantly know when you have an off-brand
100%. Yep.
set or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
However, they're getting real close. Like I haven't touched the off brands lately, especially the newer ones, but they're getting much closer, I've heard. Yeah.
What
So-
like what's the best non-Lego Lego, so to speak?
I don't know because they keep reinventing themselves. For example, China's really bad because they would steal the IP and they just like
Like literally one-to-one.
yeah, 1-to-1, and then
Yeah.
they just, make their own bricks. So the best known one, I'm gonna butcher this story. So somebody, an extreme Lego nerd out there is gonna, say I'm wrong, but essentially, the biggest one was Lepin, and so they were pretty much complete rip-off, knockoff of Lego. And whenever you got a weapon set, you can kind of tell like, oh, it didn't close all the way the canopy, or like this doesn't, like this is a little bit looser. And then they finally did, I think, get struck down to where Leppin doesn't exist anymore, but people still refer to it as Leppin because it's just kind of become a synonymous name of rip-off Lego.
Off-brand, yeah.
Yeah, and so many different manufacturers over there, especially in China, have just gotten closer and closer to producing a brick that actually does fit a lot better. So I've heard. I haven't really touched some. I have had a few just kind of get into my Lego pieces. Mega Bloks is a more legitimate one that they're just not Lego, they're just different. So Mega Bloks, and then Mattel actually just announced a lineup of their own type of building blocks, and they're, I think, releasing like a GI Joe jet. So it'll be real interesting to see
Cool.
Mattel get into it because
So that,
yeah,
I
they're
assume that would mean Lego loses like Barbie licensing,
I don't think they
right?
have Barbie.
Isn't that
They
isn't
have
that Mattel? Or
well,
not
I
have
don't
Barbie?
I don't yeah, I don't think
Or
Lego
maybe
has.
Lego doesn't have Barbie. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No.
I
I don't
guess
think they do.
I'm just thinking like Lego Friends, I think. Yeah, it's not
Yeah, that
it's
might
not
be
Well,
what
like,
we're thinking.
for
just Lego,
example,
yeah.
Mega Bloks has Pokemon and Halo. So that's like
Yes.
the
Which my
yeah.
kid, we have a ton. They had Call of Duty and Halo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we have bought up so many just of the little figures because they actually articulate like knees, elbows. It's not like uh you know, the Lego figure that can only do shoulders and hips kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're really cool. Yeah. Yeah, those are neat.
Yeah, I kind of like Lego for its restrictive design. It's like you kind of it gives you parameters that then you have to build within, and like that's the well, we'll talk about more. I'm sure the mock scene is like you have parameters like okay, these are the pieces. Whereas like I feel like, and I don't know, this is my experience, but I feel like with Mega Bloks, like all right, well we need a Charizard. All right, well here's a bunch of custom pieces
Yeah.
in this set. Well, it's like well those quantities then are only from that set, and it's going to be really tough to make a mock because there's only so many of those. Whereas Lego is like they will make custom pieces, but it's very rare. So
Yeah.
that way in the mock community, which ones are your standard bricks you're going to have a
Mhm.
lot of, and
That
there are
won't
some
cost a fortune because there's like 10 of them that exist in the world.
Exactly. So Lego's just become so vast, and there's so much online reselling, and it's been for over 90 years that
Mhm.
it's just like impossible to catch up with Lego at this point. Yeah.
The one thing that I found, which was annoying when I was building the Falcon, was I had some old Lego from 20 years ago, not realizing that some of the colors just slightly changed at some
The
point.
grays. Yep.
The grays, and so it's not that light blue. It's a little bit more of like a brownie gray.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, okay, not a big deal. I'll just use it. It won't bother me. Immediately when I started using them, I was like, nope, throw them out. Like I can't use it. It just doesn't look right. Yeah, which
I have a few regular grays on my Falcon. It didn't bother me because the Falcon is such a weathered, beat up ship.
it's true. Like
That
that is
is
the one
yeah.
that
It's a hunk
yeah,
of junk, guys.
Yeah.
yeah. So, but anyways, I went and we have a guy in our church, funny enough, two guys who their business is selling Lego online.
Yeah.
Like they have the not the Rebrickable, what is it? The Bricklink. Yeah, the Bricklink stores, and that's just what they do. So I laugh where I often put in an order and I get like little bags with Lego sometimes, and it's like I have a Lego dealer, which is just kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
like
but it's like real.
The trench coat opens
I
up.
wish I had a Lego dealer. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because it does actually get expensive when
Oh,
you
yes.
because when you
Very.
go so for listeners, for those who don't know, when you go to Rebrickable, which is where Brent, you would have your store where you have your plans, and then you can click a button that says I want to build this mock. So the one that's like you find the one that you want to build, and then it then allows you to connect that or go to Bricklink, which is where the actual marketplaces are, and then Brick Owl is another one, right?
Yes. Yep. I've only used Bricklink. Yeah. By the way, I'm trying to make a video about this to kind of explain the whole mock process.
Oh,
and
cool.
It still might evolve into something else, like the biggest problems with it, or because it's a very convoluted system.
Yes.
You need to go to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We were looking into at the
Yeah.
same time Jordan was doing the Falcon. I was looking at maybe doing the TIE Fighter. We still probably are with one of my little guys. And man, we were trying to like gather up all the pieces that we did have, and then in our profile on Bricklink, like cross those off and then be able to order and like it
Well,
was
because it's
not super simple
It's
and
not
no,
intuitive.
yeah.
no, because I was really
Yeah.
confused where, like, I bought the set, like, the one that you based your Falcon or the
Mhm.
the Falcon on, and then so it's like, okay, so I have all these pieces, so then you have to go and add that to your inventory,
Yeah.
and then you have to go to the thing and say, "Build this mock," and then
Yeah.
it will then put together a parts list of all the things that you don't already have, but then you have to, like, export that into Bricklink,
Yes.
and then so you have now an inventory list on Bricklink. Then you click the button, "I wanna buy these," and then it goes and tries to source and find, like and I'm assuming the system's pretty efficient in trying to find the best, options for you. Thankfully, like, again, we have 2 guys in our church, and then funny enough, another person who
Like
is
right
on
in
our
town.
yeah, on our way to church, there's another Bricklink, seller that I've purchased from, and so it's, like, in this, like,
That's
area of
amazing.
Ingersoll, Ontario, and then there's a
That's
few
awesome.
in London, which is, like, the city that's closer to where I live, but so there's just, like, all these Bricklink stores right close by, but
That's
and
amazing.
then so then you can either manually select sellers, or you can have the system automatically put it together, but then
Yep.
you have to often pay shipping for all of
Yep.
it, and it starts adding up because sometimes, which is the most annoying thing, where you're, like, 1 piece short on your order, and then it has to go to somebody, and then you have to buy from 1 piece and pay the full shipping, and it's just so it that
Yeah.
having a video like that would honestly be so helpful for somebody
It's
getting into it because
I'm trying to dissect it. It's very I'm trying how do I make this, like, digestible for people? And also, like, I'm not trying to come across as an expert. I'm just trying to lay everything out there. 'Cause one thing I'm trying to do as a
Well, listen,
mock builder
whatever you do, hopefully it's better than the last like 3 minutes of our show because I think everybody listening just tuned out and they're like,
yeah. It's rife with issues because it's so sectioned off. You have like we said, we have Rebrickable, we have Bricklink, which is the biggest online seller. There's other options out there. Also, there is Pick a Brick. Lego will allow you to buy
yeah,
from them, but like it doesn't offer all the options you need. It's so spread out across at least 3 different systems. You could narrow it down to 2. Um, it really is. There is a huge learning curve to get into just dive into your first mock. So that's one thing I noticed. Like when I first got into it, it was like I was very reluctant. It took me a while to start ordering from Bricklink. I had only order from Lego, and I would start just get like, oh, I want all these curved slope pieces, so I'd get a bunch of those with a bunch of other stuff, and I slowly built my Falcon. This is before I was making mocks. I was just building on my own. I wasn't touching online sellers because like I don't want to even get into that. It was very unapproachable. And so I'm trying to think in, my mind back then, like, how can I make this more approachable for people and explain to them what's going on? Because it is very unintuitive as a web designer, as a graphic designer.
Mhm.
I know there are buttons and things that just don't make sense. Like that just, it should be a lot easier to click and just move and transfer things and just check out. And we're not going to be able to solve that anytime soon because you have multiple different parties involved in different organizations trying to all make money as they should. Um, so all that to say, very convoluted process. I get why people don't get into mock designs because of it.
Yeah.
and yet there are like a ton of people doing it at
Oh,
the same
absolutely.
time.
It's
Yeah,
huge. It's absolutely huge. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I've spent some time just browsing on, Rebrickable, and some of those sets are, like, I mean, I would say yours is as well, like, a masterpiece. It's art. Like, it is an actual, like, art it is a sculpture that I have, like, however you wanna consider whatever art is, it's like, it's beautiful. Like, it actually and so then, the one this is kind of my dream set right now, totally unattainable. But a guy took the Rivendell set,
oh
and he
yeah,
did 2 of them and made a custom better Rivendell
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
of and of
I've
out of
probably
2 of
seen
them.
that one, or I've seen versions of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I mean, he has other ones as well. I think it might be the same guy who did a huge, fully built out Hogwarts as well, like one that's way more detailed and better than the official one. But I looked at the price and it's like, I can't spend like
Yeah.
$2,000 on a Lego set, but it
Yeah.
is so I'd be curious, do you have you bought any of those, like, bigger sets? Like, I know with Star Wars, there's a UCS line, which is the Ultimate Collector Series. Do you have any of those in your collection?
None. I don't. So
They're
I've relegated myself to Lego Star Wars. I've just focused on that because I love Lord of the Rings. I would love to own that Rivendell set. When that came out, I was like, Oh, it's beautiful. It is a
Yep.
piece of art. Just the Lego one, not even a Moth one. The Lego one that Lego
Yep.
created officially, the Rivendell, beautiful.
Yep.
I can't drop $500 on that. I was waiting. I was like, maybe it'll drop in price. It won't drop in price. Or if it does, it'll be like $50 or something like that. I can't. I'm staying focused on Lego Star Wars, and there's multiple reasons why I do, stay focused on Lego Star Wars. And even then, in Lego Star Wars, I don't really touch UCS because multiple reasons. Um, One, price. Two, the size. They're really large. Like the Millennium Falcon, as cool as it is, like uh, you know, they can't put that on a bookshelf. It needs to go like on its own dedicated table. I've seen people put it inside of glass tables, which
Yeah.
look amazing, but like I'm not going to dedicate that much to one singular set. I really like having something I can hold in one hand, if not two. Like my
Unlike
Millennium
this guy over
Falcon.
here.
Yeah, yeah. It's just enormous, the UCS version, and same thing with like other UCS versions. Like they'll explode the scale. That Millennium Falcon actually would scale much better with my X-Wing and my TIE Fighter at the
Hmm.
current scale. It's around in the 1/42nd range, I believe, that Millennium Falcon, give or take. And my X-Wing and TIE Fighter are at 1/48. So that actually would scale better with my X-Wing
Hmm.
and TIE Fighter rather than the Millennium Falcon that I have created off of Legos, Playscale one. But I like shrinking ships as they get bigger. So all the single fighter starfighters I keep around, handheld size, which is around 1/42nd to 1/45th scale. So I've really kind of have a philosophy behind what I'm building, and I'm differentiating myself from a lot of mock builders out there, and I'm differentiating from UCS because UCS is thought of as like, oh, this is the ultimate pinnacle of Lego. And it is, it is the most detailed version you can get officially from Lego. I just have issues with it with price and size that I'm just not willing to cross those borders. And once I got back into Lego, a couple of years back, I was like, you can make these smaller sets just as detailed as these UCS versions in different ways, and you have to, simplify certain details. But I'm achieving a level of detail in a smaller play scale size that I can hold with one hand and I can hand it to my kid under my supervision, of course, because it is dad's art.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've
Yes.
differentiated. I've not
Yes,
bought. Yeah.
I've heard you say that you prefer them to be a size where they can be swooshable.
Yes.
Yep.
As yeah.
Because
So
I'll be walking around
One of
and
my
I'll go.
favorite terms.
I'll pick up, one of my sets. I'll just look at it like, oh, is there something I can do different on here? Is there something, I can improve? I just like, kind of moving around and manipulating it with my hand, especially because I'm a graphic designer and a videographer at work. I like breaking away from my screen, and just picking up something tangible and physical. So that's something I like to have in hand. I don't just want to put it up on the shelf and just sits there and collects dust, which they do. But I do want to be able to move them around and let my kids pick them up and play as well.
So what is that philosophy that you have? Like what are the aspects that you're considering when you're looking into building a custom set?
So I'm probably gonna make a dedicated video about it in the future. But the first thing is scale. I try to get things in a proper scale, and I made a video about that. Like I call it the UCS play scale, where I outlined like, hey, UCS is up in this range. I want to get smaller than that, but play scale currently Lego is all over the place because they just make all kinds of different sizes. And so I'm kind of honing it all in, and I start with scale. So I say if I want to build, for example, I just did a Y wing. Um, I want to get that scale dialed in right where my X-wing is, my Tie Fighter is, and make sure that it looks good next to other ships of that size. So scales where I start first, and then I look for uh, other sets that have been built by Lego, and I go see like what have they done, what kind of techniques, and I try to adapt. If there's something that they've made ingenious at Lego, which they do, they constantly make ingenious techniques. I want to adapt those techniques and use them in my build, and then build the correct details around it. Um, that's
Are
a
all
really
of
general overview, but there's a lot more to it. But yeah, that's a general overview. Yeah.
So again, with the algorithms now sharing me a bunch of like Lego mock videos and stuff, one thing I've learned about is some of the quote unquote like illegal
Yes.
Lego, I don't know, connections, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Is
Illegal
that so?
techniques.
Yeah, yeah, sure, yeah. So is that something you are stay away from when you're doing your mocks entirely? Is that something you play around with, or like are
I
you
Yeah.
strictly by the rules kind of thing?
Mostly always by the rules. I did make an exception with my Y-wing, and I got into it in my video. I explained why, but like there's certain stresses that get put on the Legos, and there's like minuscule stresses that you wouldn't even know about with these illegal techniques. So I try to avoid them at all costs. But like with the Y-wing, it was such a long bar piece that goes to the tail of the engine. I didn't really care because like I know the stress there isn't
Next to
really going.
nothing.
It's
Yeah.
not gonna, yeah, it's gonna be next to nothing, if anything at all. And I explained that kind of in my video with that particular one. But overall, all of my builds are up to par. They are not illegal techniques. So there's one, some things here or there. Like I'm like, all right, when you unfold the legs and you put it down with the Razor Crest, there might be too much stress on those particular pins in there. And if a child came along and just wanted to press down on it, it's probably gonna compromise those pins. I make them for adults, but they can be played with for children as long as that child knows how to play with it. Because there's certain things that Lego will build and build their sets to be very playable, but they're kind of dummy proof to where a kid's not going to be able to mess it up and potentially break the brick. With some of the techniques I use, but overall, I keep it very safe with my builds. Some people will build illegally to achieve a finer level of detail that I'm just not willing to cross those illegal techniques most of the time. Yeah.
This is news to me. I did not. I
Oh,
honestly.
it's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like later today. There's going to be a whole bunch of videos that I'm watching on illegal Lego building because
Somebody just commented on one of my videos. They're like, "Hey, didn't putting the tile in between the studs on your X-wing, isn't that illegal?" I'm like, "No, no, no. Actually, you can put tiles in between studs. You can't put plates in between studs because the little Lego logo on top of the studs is just the finest amount of extra stress. Where a tile has a little bit less thickness to it, you can do that, and it's not considered illegal. And Lego did it in a Star Wars set that I'm aware of. So."
So is there like a for people who are like yourself building these things? Is there a rule book somewhere that you're downloading that actually tells you what is and is not permissible?
There might be. I'm unaware of it. If there is, I wouldn't be surprised if there is.
Yeah.
Or is it basically just like this is what Lego does, therefore if Lego does it, it's considered
No, they've
legal and safe?
I think they've come out against like certain things like, oh yeah, we're not going to do this. I've just watched so many YouTube videos. It's just kind of just gotten to the back of my head, and I don't know where I learned it from. I just know that there are certain illegal techniques, and it gets brought up over and over with people I follow. I know there's one guy who did a really good video. Tiago, I forgot his last name. He used to be a Lego designer. He has a pretty good channel where he reviews sets. But he did, illegal technique, and he did a much better job of just explaining what it is because he used to work for Lego. He lives in Portugal. He just didn't want to go live up in Denmark, and so now he just does YouTube, and he did a really good job explaining illegal techniques. That's a really good starting point for anybody who wants to dive into the illegal techniques. Yeah.
Yeah, Tiago Catarino, is that
Yes,
is
that's
that him?
him. Yep.
I watch his reviews on sets. He does
He's
really
good.
good
He's solid.
stuff. Yeah, really. And quite quick deviation. The T-Rex one. What are your thoughts on the T-Rex one? Do you know that one that's coming out? Are you familiar
The
with
newest
it?
one, the skeleton.
Yeah.
It looked beautiful. It's in the line with the UCS, where it's just like it's really large.
Yeah.
Somebody said that they built it, and they're like, it's not as tedious as you might think it might be, because that's my thing. Is like with these really large builds, are super detailed. It's like a lot of the same stuff being over and over repeated. And somebody said that actually this one, you would think it would be tedious. They said it wasn't.
Okay.
And so the other thing too, I'll say about that, in my opinion, is like it's becoming so realistic. It's like, well, why not just do that in any other medium besides Lego?
Right.
Like
Honestly, I was just about to say it doesn't even look like Lego.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so like at that, when it gets to be so much that way, you're right. It's just like, why don't I just buy a model?
That
Yeah.
was the issue I had with so the one that I would really love because I love the franchise is the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But if you look at it quickly, it actually doesn't really look like Lego. You have to look at it kind of close to see the seams of the bricks and everything. And
Yeah.
I still want it because it's, I think, going to be, it keeps getting retired and coming back. And
There's some good mocks on that, by the way. I might do one of those in the future. Yeah.
it's awesome. It's such a cool
Yeah.
set. But again, it's like it doesn't really look. It just could be a model, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily look like Lego.
Now, my argument to that is that it has a lot of really good pieces in it. So like, and that's why I tried to make mine as detailed as possible to where they look like a model. Where if you just look at it real quickly, like, oh, did I look at a model or Lego? However, all the pieces can then go into something else. This T-Rex is so specialized. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
true.
really use those spindle,
Yep,
rib
it's
pieces
true.
for much else than that.
Yep.
And another really good YouTuber out there, RR Slugger, he did a great video on like the death of the Lego brick with these finishing bricks, where it's like you can't build on top of them. They're finished off. They're just finishing bricks. And I have mixed opinions about that. I understand what he's saying, and he's absolutely right. It was like, okay, once you put that on, that tiled piece that curves, you can't build on top of that. It's not a stacking system anymore. You're finishing it off. And with the T-Rex one, there's these spindly pieces that make the ribs. Like, you can't do a whole lot with those. Whereas,
Yeah.
my Lego Star Wars curved slope pieces, I can make those much different in much different sets. I can make it look like an engine. I can make it look like a
Yeah.
curved wing. I can
It
still
can be
do
a part. It can be a part of something bigger
Yeah. It's
anywhere
still
else.
It's
Yeah.
still a finishing piece that doesn't have a lot of studs on it, if any, but I can at least reinvent it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. See, that's the thing I really liked about your Falcon, though, is like it didn't show all the brick, like all the pegs on top. Like it looked so much cleaner. Now you still have some of it. I
Yeah.
think just like to add the texture and
I
to
like
make it
minimal
obviously.
studs.
Yeah, but it makes it look still like Lego, but it just was way cleaner than the standard set. Because I've got the box in my closet here, and it's just there are so many of them.
Yeah.
And when I showed the finished product to friends of ours who like friends of the show, Courtney, who's in our Discord, she's a big Lego fan, and when I showed it to her, she was just like, "Oh wow, like it's obviously so much nicer, but it's still Lego. Like you don't look at it and not think it's Lego."
Well, yeah. Earlier you were saying about some of the Mega Blocks stuff about how just like the amount of unique. It's like that. This entire set is that right? Like there's not a piece in this T-Rex set that you would use somewhere else, basically.
Like, there would
Creative
be.
people can for
Yeah,
sure.
there'd
It's
be
just
some.
you're limited. It's like
Yeah.
if I get great pieces are great for Star Wars. Like but yeah, these ribs, they're tan. They could be put as trees. But like you gotta come up with something very organic with a lot of these pieces.
Yeah.
And even like the tan is usually just like interior stuff, right? Like you're not having too many.
It depends on what
full-
you're building. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great
Deserts.
part about Legos. Like you can build anything,
Yeah.
So I'm restricted right now. I can't think of something because I'm so Star Wars Lego focused. But
Yeah.
somebody out there might be looking at this and like,
I mean, you
Yeah.
could totally turn this into a crate dragon on in the
There you
desert
go.
of
Yeah, yeah.
Tatooine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I guess like Dune. Yeah, like a Dune set.
Yep.
Because I know they did that. Whatever the name
The
of those. Like,
Ornithopter.
yes, and that was
That's
a
on
really.
I'm waiting for that thing to drop. I want to get that so bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool one. Like even
Yeah.
just how it has like the Technic wings that come out and how
It's a
the
Technic
mechanism-
masterpiece.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it is
pretty cool.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd like to. I mean, yeah, my Lego list is like insanely long now. Like it's ridiculous how much when you spend your time just like looking through, it's like, oh, that's nice, that's nice. But then you
Yeah.
realize, oh, this is like $2,000 worth of Lego.
Oh yeah. It racks up way fast.
Yeah. So I'd be curious, what was the first mock that you did that you then released and sold the plans for?
That I released.
Yeah.
It was the Slave one, because what my thought process behind that is like it was pretty difficult. It had a high learning curve. I was like, all right, if I can do this on my first try, then surely I can do any other builds out there. So I went in and then the Slave one, I adapted a lot of what Lego did because Lego really created a fantastic Slave one back in 2019 or whenever that set was. It was a fantastic footprint of the Slave one. They did a really good job of just creating the overall size and proportions. Typically, I have to do a lot of editing to the size and proportions, but that Slave one was really good as far as like the outline and details. It's not that one. That's the UCS.
Yeah.
Lego still calls it the Slave One, eh?
No, that was the last time it got called the Slave one.
Wow.
So I bought it aftermarket, and then I wanted to create an interior because what I thought Lego didn't do was create a proper interior to the Slave one. It's that one right there. Yep, that one.
This one?
So Because I'm trying to remember. I watched your video on the slave one. Do you have the rotating interior?
On below deck, not on top, because um, I don't think the top should rotate, even in the films. And I highlighted in my video that because I really dive into the details of these ships. I kind of do some research and I try to figure out what's the best way to do this in Lego. And the top of the ship, if we go look at prequels, like Boba Fett as a kid sits down on his back
Yeah.
to start manning the cannon. So the top shouldn't rotate. It's only
Yeah.
below that we see in the Mandalorian
I was
when they
gonna
get
say, then
in.
yeah.
Yeah, and so mine just has a swing that goes into like a 90-degree different position that just swings when
Yeah.
you lift up the ship, and it's real tough to get in there. It's super tight, but like I managed to fit it in there and fit in those details. It's not the most accurate as far as just like how much room's in there, but I was very happy with what I was able to achieve. And so when I made my first mock and developed it in Studio Bricklink Studio, I said if I can do this one, then I could probably do any other ship out there because I knew it was going to be really tricky. And the way I did it, I didn't do it the best. I made everything in like submodels and then submodel and submodel, which is not a great way to build, but I end up getting the instructions out. And then I actually revamped this back at the end of the year to be a little bit more user friendly for the instructions because I'm also going to be doing a Jango Fett slave one as well.
Oh, nice.
Reskin of that. Yeah.
It's such a cool ship.
Oh, yeah.
I know. So iconic.
Yeah.
I've tried to find the base one that you're using for this, and
It
it
skyrocketed
it is
because,
very hard.
well, yeah, for a few reasons. It was only out for like 6 months or a year. It wasn't a huge shelf life, which is crazy because like it's super popular set. And then right after it came off the shelves, that's when Disney is like, "Oh, we don't like that word slave."
Of
It
course.
just just the stupidity of Disney.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so then after that, they made a smaller one that's way too small, and they called it uh, Boba Fett's ship. Uh,
Fett's fire spray, isn't it?
yeah, I
Or
don't think they used fire spray, but they
or
could
do
because
they not?
they dropped that in that terrible show, Boba Fett show, the fire spray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it always was. Like that was the model of that ship was the fire spray.
Yes, yeah,
Like
yeah. So
you know what I mean?
it's
So
not incorrect to call it the fire spray, but I think they called it Boba Fett's ship, yeah, or something
yeah,
like that.
like just couldn't be a more lame title.
Yeah, so yeah, Slave One,
Like
that's what it was. It's this crazy can opener like ship. I love the what we see in the original trilogy with it. It's such a cool, unusual ship.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So when you're building one of these, I know you being like a fan of Lego, you want the building experience to be good, like because that's like one of the big knocks against often building sets is that it's like it doesn't actually provide a really good building experience. It's repetitive, it's boring. You're doing the same thing over and over again. So how do you like what does that process look like for you as you're going from hey, I want to make this better? Like what does that whole process look like?
As far as the experience goes, I don't think about that much when I'm
No.
building. I'm thinking about the end product. Um, and typically it happens, like at the end, it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good experience. I'll use my Y-Wing that I just released. Um, there are some cool techniques. I think two techniques in particular. The cockpit of my Y-Wing is just really odd in how it comes together. Not odd, but ingenuitive in the way it comes together. And I adapted it from another Lego set in just how the pieces align. It's very unusual. It's not stacking the bricks like you would expect with Lego. And it's not even snot technique. Snot technique is studs nut on top. It's just a whole different thing where I'm aligning bars that go plug into these little uh, bricks, and then you can angle them in just a way, and they all align in the perfect way. So I think when somebody stumbles across that technique, they're going to go, "Oh wow, he did it like this." Because I stumble across those things in Lego's instructions or other mock builders instructions, and I go, "Oh wow, I just gained some knowledge building this because I never thought that Lego could work like this in this way." And I learned that from the Andor set, Attack on Ferrix, where they did something very ingenious, and then I just adapted it to my Y-wing. Um, so yeah, and my Y-wing is very interesting because it it builds out to where you couldn't take things off of it and then put it back on. You really have to go sequentially. You got to start in the middle of the body, up to the cockpit, come back, then put the engines on, secure the engines. So if you want to take something off, you kind of have to take everything apart to get to it. which might be a betrayal of Lego, and kind of like what I aim for, because it is nice to be able to take off a wing, edit something, and put it back on. But with the particular way I built the Y-wing and engines, I kind of made it really technical, but I think people are going to get a really good idea of like, oh wow, this is an interesting new way to build Lego I hadn't thought about before.
Hmm. How closely do you stick to Lego's original flow from when you're updating, like, so the Falcon? How are you trying to stay kind of in line with, their building process, or do you see or try to make it better, or do you just start entirely from scratch?
Pretty much start entirely from scratch. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to achieve the end result of like an accurate ship at the scale I want. That's really I want an accurate ship at the scale. And the tricky part is like I'll come up with a technique in my head, and then I'll start doing it digitally. I've been going from I used to make things only physically, but now I kind of go digitally, and then I'll test things physically. Um, but like sometimes I'll think of something, I'm like, I don't know if this is possible, because like you can bury techniques in there, and then it might change things around. And like once you get to the end result, you're like, oh crap, there's no studs connecting the interior core of this. Like it can get really convoluted. And so when I'm making the instructions, I have to go back through and be like, all right, is it even possible for me to get from this point to then step 112? Um, and how can I do it? Like, can somebody actually physically do this? Sometimes there's like certain rods that need to go in there, but by the time you get there, they're blocked. You can't get to that area. So I'm very limited by, I'm not very limited. It's very wide open for me, but I had to figure out the right sequential order in order to actually make the plans work. And so that typically dictates how I develop the plans, because I have to go look at the most complicated area. I'm like, how do I get to this? How do I make people see it in the instructions and make it make sense?
Does that software you use, like you just explained that sort of very unique building technique with the Y-wing that like does it are all of those techniques available in that software? Or like or do you have to kind of work around, do some weird stuff, or like how does that I'm just trying to wrap my mind around how that even works.
I don't think the question's phrased right. Whereas, like, you asked if the techniques are available in the software. The technique is just you have to turn the bricks and put them in, the right order. That's up to you to do it.
Okay, sure, yeah.
I know, like,
Like
I'm
just
not.
I guess I
Yeah,
just mean like the way that like certain bricks attach or like is it like
it's a
eh,
great software. It's
yeah,
fantastic. So, like, if it studs connect to studs, it knows where studs connect,
right.
and then it'll also tell you where collisions happen. Where it's like,
Yeah, okay.
hey, this is colliding here, and now these bricks, like, it'll show them kind
Like, this
of,
is not gonna work.
yeah,
And then yeah.
exactly.
So I guess so maybe this is the better way to is there anything you've ever tried to do or like that you have achieved physically that the software like doesn't compute kind of thing or like have
No,
they
it'll
ever
it'll always, even when it collides, it'll always let you collide them. It'll just
okay.
let you
So you
know.
can
So,
still
like,
kind of
yeah.
play around
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to problem solve and everything.
Many
Yeah.
times I'm just adjusting the angle. I'm like, "All right, there's a collision there. All right, a little bit, half of a, angle, half
Right,
of a
right.
point." So, it's yeah, it's fantastic software as far as,
Very cool.
how it works. It was interesting when I was making the Falcon, there was a collision, and I was like, "No, no, no, no. This is right. This is what Lego does." And so, like, there was some sort of math not adding up there. There was, at the front where the cockpit is and where you clip in. There's some really great techniques that Lego did in their official set that I just moved over to mine. And the technique that was, colliding was saying it wasn't working. I'm like, I double, triple check. I'm like, no, no, no. Lego officially did this. Your math just isn't adding up, studio.
Yeah.
Who knows? It might be updated now to where it wouldn't do that now. But I remember coming across that. I'm like, no, you're wrong.
Hmm. How long does it take you typically? I know it varies on the set. So, or I guess maybe a better question for like the Falcon. How long roughly did that take you to actually finalize the plans for that?
That's gonna be tough because when I was making the Falcon, so the Razor Crest, the Slave One, the Falcon, a part of the X-wing, I was making those uh, 4 years ago, maybe three. I got back into Lego when I got the Razor Crest for Christmas. I told my wife to, hey, she was asking me like, what do you want for Christmas? Like, give me the Razor Crest. And then once I got that, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Let me get an X-wing for my son who's not even old enough to have a Lego set. And then I started building it myself. I'm like, well, let me go get another X-wing because he's gonna need one because now I just stole his X-wing. And so it just downhill from there. I just started getting into all kinds of sets. I'm like, oh, this Millennium Falcon is only $110. It's normally 160. How can I skip this up? And then once I got the Millennium Falcon, I'm like, well, I don't want the sequel one. I'm gonna make it the original trilogy one. This isn't tiled off enough. I want to put that. So that was a really long process where maybe I put in like 4 pick brick orders to Lego, where I was like buying at least, $40 worth of Lego. I'm like, all right, I need a bunch of these tiles over here. And I put them on. I'm like, all right, that's really good. And then maybe 3 months later, I bought a whole nother set of them and, updated it. And then 2 years later, I upload the pictures of what I've been working on over the past 2 years. And people are like, hey, do you have instructions for it? And then that's what got me into like, oh, maybe I should digitize this. And even when I made my video, I said to people when I first made it about a year ago, I was like, I don't know if I'll make instructions for this. I didn't know how successful it was going to be. And resoundingly, people are like, I will buy this. Give me, let me give you money for this. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I'll do it.
So how does the tool does the tool develop the actual plans that get output? Because the plans that I got from you, they just look like normal Lego plans. So what does that actually look like to take you? You obviously build this digital Lego set in the software to make sure it all works. Do you then have to go like piece by piece, section by section, and like know that order, or does it somehow kind of do that for you, or what does that look like?
Yes and no. You gotta do it pretty much.
Okay.
If you're really smart about it and you're designing it, you will, like put 5 pieces on the board, put them on, click them together, and then you'll say step 2. However, when I'm designing something, I'm not even concerning myself with the steps. When I'm in beginning phases of just trying to come up with like, will this even work? I'm not even concerning myself with the steps. I'm messily just putting things together. I'm tackling issues around like, all right, I know these engine and the Y wing are going to be an issue because I want them 5 studs wide and there's no piece for that. So I have to brick build them around. So I'm tackling them and then kind of building side sections off and then bringing it all together. And by the time I get the final one together, I'm like, all right, I hope I can sequentially get to this and make it instructions. And then I have to go through and be like, step 1, step 2, step 3. So I have to kind of go through and do it. If you planned it out and you develop it the right way, you could make it in steps. And then by the time you get to the instructions, it's going to be a lot easier on you. I don't concern myself because I'm concerned about the final product and seeing what I can visually achieve, if it's even possible.
Jordan, I feel like there's some AI software that you could
There has to be.
develop that
We
could
got to
take
do this.
could take a finished plan and just click a button and make step-by-step instructions.
There must be.
I feel like that's got to be a thing that could be made.
It certainly there's probably gonna be something around the corner. Yeah.
I'm sure Lego's developing something because I mean, I'm just actually really impressed. I don't know if it's every one of their sets, but their app where you can go and it has like the digital building experience where you can. I don't think for the Razor Crest but you can get the plans. Like they have the plans for like every set that you can download for free. But I know I think there's a large number of them where you can actually build it in like 3D space where
Really?
you can like rotate the model in there and see like where it's supposed to go and all that. So I mean, Lego is such a big company, and I think they're pretty tech forward.
Oh yeah.
Especially in their like I know their retail stores have a lot of tech stuff, like their mosaic thing where they take your picture and develop the mosaic with all the pieces and print it out. And so I mean, I could see them doing something like that. Do you think that like I know that I guess it's called the AFOL, which is the adults for adults for Lego.
Adult fans of Lego. I hate
That's
the
it.
acronym. I hate the
Yes.
acronym, but yeah, I know
Yes,
what it is.
the adult fans of Lego, like it's kind of one of the big reasons that saved them as well was that
Oh,
you
yeah.
now have this community of people who have way more money
Oh, yeah.
and are willing to buy these adult only sets, and that's where it's fascinating to go to the Lego aisle and you see all these 18 plus, 18
Oh,
plus,
yeah.
18 plus.
It's fantastic, but it's also kind of a problem. Like we have $1,000 Death Star rumored, and I say rumored, it's gonna happen. Like
It's gonna
coming,
happen.
it's coming out this year. Like
Yes.
so many people have said there's $1,000 Death Star. It's like, oh, then it's definitely happening. It's coming out
Yes.
in the fall or something like that. That's crazy.
And
$1,000 for a set. It's because people have expendable income now. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
and that's like that is the thing I really like about your set is I don't love a lot of the Star Wars ones. Like even the Razor Crest, I look at it and it's like, and maybe it's because I'm now used to looking at your stuff and watching your videos and seeing the plans and I see what it can look like. And it's really nice to be able to have that the balance between size, because I am not going to go and buy a custom bookshelf to put $1,000 Millennium Falcon on. I mean, there's no deal I can get on that table, or there's no deal I can get on that Falcon that I will be approved to purchase that. But when you have this one where it's like, yeah, it was still a few $100 for me to buy the set. Thankfully, I got it for cheap on Marketplace and then buying all the extra pieces. So it's like for a few $100, that's a different story. $1,000 for a thing that you can't pick it up. Like, you're not moving that thing around. Like, you're not, and that's where I like what you're doing, and I appreciate what you're doing. I'm gonna just keep building your stuff because I like that it looks really good. It looks better than what Lego is building, but then it's also not costing me $1,000. Which have you ever been contacted by Lego? Like, is that ever
Yeah.
you ever
Yeah.
had a conversation with someone there? And
Yeah, I'm pretty new on the scene. Like I've only
okay,
had my YouTube channel. I started releasing this stuff, last January on YouTube. So I'm very new on the scene.
okay,
Like when I told people, like, oh yeah, what got me back into Lego as an adult was the Razor Crest. People are like, oh wow, that recently.
hmm.
Like they call it your dark age or whatever. Where
Yeah,
like Lego
Yeah.
was my childhood. Like
The dark times.
that was my ultimate toy as a child. Like I'd go play with my friends, but then after playing with them, like I'd like go build some Lego. Like I loved Lego. It was just it consumed my mind. I loved the problem solving. I loved just like the challenge of it. I loved all the sets I built as a child. They would not last for a few weeks. Like I always am rebuilding it and remaking it. So um, people were surprised to hear like, oh wow, you've only as an adult, after your dark age, have been in Lego a few years. 4 or 5 years now. That's surprising because there's just so much out there and there's so much knowledge and behind that. So
well,
yeah.
because I think when I look at the current Star Wars Lego landscape, like, your sets fit a very clear category in their lineup because you have these like super small ones. I don't even know what, but they're all on like little stands. They're not very big, but they're pretty small.
Yep.
And then you go into like the regular sets, which
But those they're ridiculously overpriced
100,
for
it's like
for the
$100.
size of them.
I
Yeah.
know it's
Oh, are you
crazy.
talking about the MIDI scale? Are you talking
Yeah,
about the large ships that shrink down? Are you talking
Yeah.
about like the
maybe that's
Tantive
what it
and
is.
Yes.
the Executor? Yeah, yeah. So that's
Exactly
called
those.
MIDI scale. Yeah, the part that bugs me about those, I like them. I love the
They're
detail.
very cool. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think they look great, but I think
because
they're crazy overpriced.
I'm not going to build a Star Destroyer that fills up, an entire table, but I did build the Executor. My wife got it for me for Christmas. She actually surprised me with that one. I'm like, oh, good job, you did a good job, honey. I like this one. But she got it on sale. Like I tell her, like, don't you dare buy me Legos that aren't on sale because they are not worth it, especially because they don't come with minifigures. Like, if
Yeah.
I'm gonna shell out this money, I better get a minifigure from it. Like, I say my sets are displayable and playable. Like, I want the minifigure to interact with the ships that I build.
Yeah.
Because I like sharing this experience with my kids. Yes, I put them up on the shelf. And my kids aren't allowed to play with them when I'm not around. But if I'm playing with them, I'm like, hey, you want to check out my ship? My kids love the Imperial shuttle because Darth Vader's in it. They love Darth
That's
Vader. Yeah.
Yep.
But so my kids have watched. We've watched most of your videos. That's the consensus favorite is the Imperial shuttle.
It's because
Yeah.
of Darth Vader. They love kids, boys especially. They love the Imperials, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, no, it's true. They are like the stormtroopers and Vader are
Yep.
just the coolest aesthetic in Star Wars. But it's just the way the wings go up and the
Yeah. Yeah.
ramp goes down. It's just very like there's a lot of moving parts which work really well.
Yeah, I love
Yeah, I just
posing
love
them in
that
different
set.
ways. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I like having my kids like, all right, yeah, we can play with the Millennium Falcon. So they pick the minifigures out, and they break stuff off all the time. But like I'm there to supervise, so that way I know how to put it back together. So it's all right. You got to hold it right here. So they're very much adult oriented sets as far as building, and I can appreciate it, but I still can have fun with my kids. And they have their own Legos, or they can build and do whatever they want and be messy. And they have some play sets that I don't touch, but this is a nice kind of conjoinment where I can have a shared experience with my kids, but also my own thing where I get to have problem solving and skills that a tangible thing I can hold in my hand. So yeah.
Well, in my experience, because this again was my first mock, the Falcon, it is for anybody who is into building Lego, it is an entirely different experience than building a set that you buy that has the bags packaged and the order very
Yeah.
clearly like it's set out and it's like, oh, bag one, bag two. You just here's a gigantic pile of Lego. You kind of need to figure
Good
out
luck.
what is like how you organize it. So it was actually kind of fun having to think about, okay, how am I logically going to think about where will this piece be so I don't lose it? So then it's like you have, okay, you have your bricks, you have your tile pieces, you have your longer ones, your bigger ones, your angled ones, your sloped ones, and it's so like, okay, do I want to have all these ones but categorized by color, because now my brain is going to think of all of these, 45 or these sloped pieces by the fact that it's a slope piece or by the fact that it's a color piece. And unless you're going to have like a million containers, which I mean, I used up all of our like sandwich containers when I was building the Falcon, and I had to go buy some because there was just so many. But it actually feels as much as you're building a Lego set as you're doing a puzzle, which I found it to be such a satisfying experience doing that, because it was way more complicated. Because there were times where I'm looking for a piece for 20 minutes. It was ridiculous, but it's and then you find it and it's like, "Yes." Then you put the piece on, then you move to the next one, and so, like, the whole mock build, so a friend of mine who, again, friend of a show, Nate, also in our Discord community, I've known him for a long time, and, he is a huge Lego fan, but he's never done a mock, so then as I've been talking to him about you and, like, I told him, I was like, "I'm gonna get the Razor Crest because 'cause I'm gonna do his mock of that as well because I had so much fun with the Falcon." And so now he's looking to buy the Razor Crest because he's like, I want to try it. He wants to do it. So
That's awesome.
I'm going to get him set up with Michael at our church who sells the Lego. And because it is totally different. It's
Yeah.
way longer, right? The
Oh, yeah.
longest set, I mean, I know you can, like the big Falcon, Millennium Falcon, that still probably take you close to like 10 hours, I'm guessing, to build the UCS Falcon, maybe longer,
That sounds about right.
maybe about
Yeah.
10 hours. Like building yours, it probably took me like 25 hours just because
Yeah.
it was
You have
just
to search. Yeah.
and it feels like your dollar per, time is way more worth it really, where you feel like, okay, because I bought over Christmas break just because it was a retired set that I really loved, and I was honestly waiting for the pieces for the Falcon. So I bought if you know Horizon Zero Dawn,
Yep. Yep.
the tall neck set,
Yep. That's a cool one.
and again, I got it for like $80. The guy was like, "Yeah, fine, whatever. I just wanna sell it." It's like, "Sweet." And it probably took me about 2 hours to build.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and I love it. It displays really well. It's great. I love it. Like it's one that I wanted. But it was like even still $40 per hour of time. It's pretty expensive to justify that when you can buy a video game and spend 100 hours, or you can buy a book and spend 30 hours and the book's going to cost you $30. So it's like I like that it makes it like doing the mock stuff makes it feel like this is something that per hour of time you're doing it, it is actually way more less cost
Yeah.
prohibitive. So,
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Back to a point we're talking about, adults getting into Lego. It's great. I love the mock community, and you know, the nice thing about making smaller sets is like it's more digestible as far as like, okay, the X-wing is under 600 pieces. That's a lot easier to build. I built a AT-AT that's over almost 5,000 pieces, and I'm not an organized person. It took me so long to do the AT-AT. I didn't make it; another designer did. So it was fantastic. But adults getting into Lego, it's fantastic because we're having all these cool IPs that we're just, knocking out of the park with, whether Lego made it and made it UCS and 18 plus, or a mock designer made it. However, it is killing a bit of the original Lego themes,
mm,
like the creative and playful themes of Lego. There's not as many of them as there were back in the 90s when I was a kid. Um, and I've mixed thoughts on that because, again, I'm into it. I'm down for creating all these really great detailed sets and making some that are geared towards adults. But they aren't hitting as many cool things like I don't know if you guys remember Ice Planet and Spyrius and all the cool
mm,
like space themes. Like
Mhm.
yeah,
those were my childhood, and then I tried to adapt them into Star Wars, even though I was very limited with the bricks. So it is interesting to see a
Yeah.
Lego evolve in this way. I like it, but also I can appreciate like, oh yeah, there is something kind of dying off here.
mm,
I definitely do find like the most fun my kids like my kids if I gave them the choice, typically would prefer to buy like a Lego with IP, right? Like a Star Wars
Yeah,
set or a Harry
yeah,
Potter set or whatever. But the most fun they have is with the just big bin of Lego Friends or Lego City or like all the other sets that they build and then tear down and then
yeah,
rebuild and tear down and build some, their own unique thing out of those pieces. Like that's where they spend the most amount of time. with their Lego, right? Like their Lego, their X-wing and their uh, Batmobile or whatever. Like they're just sitting on the shelf, right? They play with them once in a blue moon or whatever. But so yeah, like there's definitely some truth to that.
Also, so my oldest is 7. I have 2 boys, 5 and 7, and I have a infant. So my 2 boys are, best buds, and they still build Duplos, and I encourage it
Hmm.
because they have 4+ sets now, and I have some I've been developing strong feelings toward these 4+ sets. I kind of hate them. The 4+ sets, they introduce like really dumbed down pieces that are really large and very custom made. So then the price of the set goes way up because they're making custom pieces for it. But then my kids aren't learning the fundamentals of Lego. Like they need to learn just the simple bricks. And one of the things I love about the new Lego pieces is that they're all very detailed, they're very specialized. But are my kids learning the fundamentals of like simple, like what are the basic plates available out there? What are the basic bricks available out there? When I get them a Star Wars set, a play one that we just build from Lego, they're getting some of these detailed pieces, and I don't know if they're learning the fundamentals of like just simple stacking and then turning with snot technique. I kind of wonder about that because they're getting so many more specialized pieces that I never had as a kid, and I don't think the 4+ sets are really achieving that either because they're just handing them custom uh,
It's
pieces.
hard. It's
Yeah,
hardly even Lego
yeah,
at that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's because we have a couple of like
chunky. Yeah,
they have like a couple Spider-Man 4+ sets that are they're it feels like they're like 10 pieces, because
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
just like
Yep.
huge. Yeah.
They made it too dumb, It's like
Yeah.
you don't gotta treat them like that, like, and that's why like with the Duplos, it's like okay, this is simple. It's just like they want to build something really big, really fast. Like, well, Duplos will do that for you.
Yeah.
Like I haven't said like, all right, no more Duplos. You guys are getting too old for that. I'm like, this is great. Build your castles and stuff like that.
Well, even my 3-year-old, like, he can figure it out. Like, he broke down his Spider-Man set in, like, 4 minutes after we built it, and now he's just, like, rebuilding stuff, and it's like, what a 3-year-old is able to even figure out in terms of, like, how to use the pieces and how they work together and everything. I go down, he has a Lego table in his room, and it's like, "You're 3," and he's figuring it out. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yep.
It's fascinating, and that's where I think just, like, talking about, like, the benefits of Lego, like, there are so many benefits to children playing with Lego. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, compare that to I mean, obviously, we're pro video games and there's benefits to video games, but there is something very good and healthy and, about doing something physically with your hands as a kid and I think even as an adult. Because I think some people I don't know, is that a thing that you've experienced when you tell people like, "Hey, so my side hustle is I build Lego." Is that, like, something that you ever get people just scoffing at?
No, never scoffing. Everyone's
No?
like, "Oh wow, really? That's cool." Tim is, like that's cool, and like everybody has like a touch point with Lego. Like, oh yeah, my kids are really into Star Wars, or oh I love Lego. So no scoffing.
No?
But yeah, there's so many ways to experience Lego. Like there are collectors out there. There are certain IPs that people only want. There are people who build the set and then they just put it up and they only display. They never play with it. There are people who build it and then put it down, put it into a bag, put it in storage. There are people who, like my childhood, anything I built then just got put into a big old bin and then it got rebuilt as something else. My brother and I would typically go from building castle stuff to sci-fi, then back to castle, then back to sci-fi, and then typically sci-fi just kind of took over, towards the end of our childhood. So there's so many different ways to
Mhm.
experience it. I think I got away from what you asked me, the original part of that
No, that's
question.
alright. Yeah, yeah. No, just 'cause I mean, like, that's one of the things we're trying to do with this podcast and the project of Reforming Nerdom is help people see that, like, as Christian men, like, here we are, we're grown-ups, and we're playing with Lego, but it's like many people, would be like, "Well, why aren't you just going out sharing the gospel, or why aren't you reading a theology book?" And it's being able to find the joy in doing something as what seems to be as silly as an advanced interlocking brick system,
No,
where we're just
yeah, actually, I have a lot of thoughts on that. So,
Yeah, yeah, go.
Touched a
um,
nerve with that one.
no,
There it
no, no,
is.
no, 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 no. Like you're on point. You're on point. So I had those thoughts. I've really gotten to the reformed mindset in the past 5 years. Is really I've been listening to a lot of guys, theological guys, where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ditching dispensationalism. I'm ditching the seeker sensitive movement. I think we listen to a lot of the same guys, and listen to a lot of post mill guys, and you know, building up a something I can hand down to my kids. Something I don't know if it'll happen, but I'd love to be able to hand this YouTube channel to my kids or share it with them. Maybe they come
Mhm.
on the video with me. I'm not there yet. It's just too much work to even consider doing that. But like, um, as I've been listening to those guys, like King's Hall is like my favorite podcast. Like, they're thinking about like, hey, what are ways you can get creative with what God's giving you? And it's like, I'm really good at building things. I was really good at Lego. I now have video skills I've developed over my career, and I married those two things, and now I can make money off of it. Oh yeah, like now I'm like turning up the volume. Like, okay, if I'm justifying getting money for my family as extra income that can then help offset, uh, you know, paying for what my family needs. Yeah, I'm building Lego even more because I was just kind of messing around as a break from my work, as I'm sitting there staring at a computer screen, editing a video. I need a break, go build the Razor Crest. Oh, it's cool. Let me tinker around with it. But then when I discovered, people pay me for this, like, all right, this is a side hustle. This is a side business that then, fuels my Christian family away from me to provide for them. By the way, my wife, we just had our infant daughter. She quit, and now I'm the sole provider for our household. And my wife made more than me before that. So, I've been steadily, very incrementally changing my lifestyle as I've been listening to guys who um, teach a theology that's much more reformed, much more post mill. And I wouldn't even say I'm a heavy post mill guy. I wouldn't assert the things that they assert, the guys that I listen to. However, I don't refute what they say. I'm just not as strong of a Christian to be like, oh yeah, I know for sure that's going to happen this way. But I love the optimistic outlook and the building of Christendom through what the Lord has given us. So God made me creative. He made me good at making videos and graphics, and I can combine this and make money off it for a greater good of providing for my family. And I will say that, yeah, Lego is silly, absolutely. Like it's fun silliness. Some people put way too much um, emphasis on Lego in their life. There are people dropping cash, way too much cash on Lego. Like that's why I tell my wife, like, do not buy me Lego. That's not on sale. It is crazy expensive.
Yep.
And there's too many people watch on YouTube, and like it's usually young men. Like they don't have anything else. They don't have families. I get
Yep.
that. I blew my money on stupid stuff when I was their age. But as you get older, like don't blow your money on Lego. Like Lego is in the tier list, like way down here. Like
Yep.
it's God, family, and my career. Like um, I don't think Lego will ever overtake my career. Like there's too many good things that come from my career. I potentially become solely a Lego YouTuber and make money solely off that? Maybe, but I don't know if I would even want to, for multiple reasons. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, to unpack, but I think that kind of answers what you were talking about because I absolutely agree. Like, yes, it is silly, but also God gifted me with this talent, and now I can use it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I
totally.
think it's great. It's just another example of you're enjoying creation. And I mean, like some people might scoff at me even saying this, but it's like even in just like a small example of taking the raw materials of creation,
Mhm.
they've taken it and melted it down to these plastic things. And it's just like a picture of what we're supposed to be doing. But like even in that, you're taking things, you're fashioning them together, putting it into something, making it beautiful, and like that in and of itself is a good thing. Now, if that's the only dominion taking you're making in your life, yeah, that's a problem, right? If you're not going and making the world outside your house look better than, the Lego set that you build, yeah, that's a problem. But even for like our kids to demonstrate that, where it's like, no, to do something well, to make something beautiful, to take these seemingly disparate pieces and bringing them together into something that actually can be functional and beautiful. I think it's such a great thing. And even just like relationally, I'm sure all three of us have experienced like our kids love when we sit down and do something that they also love, right? Like that's the thing that our, 2 generations ago, our grandfathers wouldn't have sat down with our dads likely to build Lego because they would have been, working in a factory, came home exhausted, passed out. And so like we can now do a thing because it was something that we did growing up and now we can do it with our kids. And it's like when I sit down and play Lego with my kids, they are just elated that I get to go down and play Lego with them. And even so, my wife and I, in all of this, because I've just become obsessed with Lego in the last, 6 to 9 months, however long it's been. friends of ours, one thing that they do because they have young kids, it's harder for them to get out for date night. So they've just said, well, a couple times a year, what we're going to do, instead of going out and spending, 50, $60 on dinner and a movie, probably more than that at this point, really. Let's just
was
like
gonna say,
buy a,
where are you going to
yeah,
dinner?
like that's like
Dairy Queen?
that's
Like,
not that's not even McDonald's anymore. So it's like, yeah, you're spending okay, $100 to go a dinner and a movie for a date night. It's like, okay, or a couple times a year, we'll buy a Lego set. And so now what we've been doing is we bought the Harry Potter castle, not the big one, like the smaller, more reasonable, I think better one. And so now it's like our date night once a week. We're sitting down and we're doing like we're also doing like dance lessons, but that's a whole other thing. But like part of the night, like so we put on Harry Potter. We're watching through Harry Potter as we're building the Lego. And so what started, I think, for her as something where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this thing because I know he wants to do it. Now she's actually enjoying building the Lego as well. And
That's
it's like we're
awesome.
doing something together. And so it's like there it's something that again, like you're something tangible, you're doing it. And maybe Brent, you and I, because well, and I guess Ben as well, like your pastoral stuff, you're not going and building houses or, building cars or something. It's like for me, working at a computer all day, all the things I create are digital bits and bytes that don't actually exist in the real world. And so to have something like I just like feeling that I'm building something tangible,
Yeah,
right? And it's
you were mentioning it earlier. It's like we're kind of imitating our creator in that way. It's like we're given these building blocks, which also teach math. Like that's wonderful as far as like it makes you think, in numbers. And I think that's a fantastic skill for children and also myself. Just like God made math and everything is structured in such a way. As I discover as I get older and older, like everything is knitted together in such a way on a such more crazy huge level, and Legos is a silly little thing that imitates that, in
yeah,
such a small, minuscule way.
I
And
think
it's a way. Go ahead. Yeah,
also
yeah.
though, like to that math point, it's just like the ability to think in 3 dimensions that Lego develops in your mind, especially for little kids, I think is really, really helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely
Yeah.
agree. Yep.
yeah, like I have some like stats here where it's like cognitive and problem solving benefits. It's a study found that kids who played with Lego scored 15% higher on tests of spatial ability. 91%, where was it? Yeah, like other studies for fine motor skills and dexterity. Like, so there's just like, there's real things that are beneficial. It's kind of like video games where you might not, is a kid's livelihood going to be sitting down and using these little tiny bricks for a living? Very few people are actually going to be doing that, but it's like it's the other things that come with that that are going to lend to future careers and being able to just be
Well,
more
again,
successful.
and so it's really easy and really it's common for people to crap on people whose hobbies are nerdy stuff, right? But then you say like, oh, like look at the mathematical benefits, the cognitive, the spatial, the fine motor skills, whatever, like all those things. But like people don't even really blink when when you say, well, like my kid's never actually gonna make it to the NHL, but we don't even think twice about like, "Oh, look at the benefits of teamwork and leadership skills and all this by playing organized sports," and it's like, yeah, that's I mean, like, same thing, like, they're not going this isn't gonna be their career, like, almost assuredly,
Yeah.
but there clearly are benefits to all kinds of activities. It's just there's certain ones that for reasons of, decades of kinda cultural things going on in the background that it's easy to kind of crap all over some of the nerdier side of the hobbies. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's too why I kind of gravitate towards Lego Star Wars. Like, there's a more masculine element to it. A lot of guys, like bros like Star Wars. I like ships. I like the Star Wars part of it. I like the conflict. Like I love the cannons. I love and like Lego's very anti-war, but they love raking in the money from Star Wars. Like they don't want to make real guns, but like they're printing plenty of those plastic little guns to put in my minifigures' hands, and I
Yeah,
I
as long as
like
they
that.
shoot lasers and not bullets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, you can get hit, sometimes we get, stabbed with a lightsaber. It's not an issue. You'll survive that no problem.
That's
So,
right.
So what's the I mean, I want before we wrap up, I want to be mindful of your time, Brent, but
Yeah, we're good.
what's the next major build that you have planned? Are you willing to divulge that or is that is that private right now?
Actually, nothing too exciting. I'm actually just rehashing some builds. I'm gonna redo my U-wing a little bit, make it a little more accurate. There's just some newer pieces I'm going to integrate into my U-wing to make it better as we go into Andor. And
Mm.
I really loved Rogue One. Fantastic movie. It's my second favorite film under Empire Strikes Back. So I want to bring the Blue Squadron version of from Rogue One that we saw of the U-wing, and that requires some different pieces. That way, I can get the blues in there the right way, and the canopy can be adjusted to be a little bit better, less than a modification of that old U-wing set. And I'm also going to reskin the Slave one. Um, I have my eye on a few, anything original trilogy. I'm definitely going to build an A-wing. It's my most requested. It is high up on my list. There's more ties I need to do, the TIE Bomber, TIE Striker. I'm also going to get in some prequels. Man, the prequel boys, they are strong. They really want those prequel sets. And
Yeah,
I,
there's
I respect,
a lot of cool ships in the
there are.
prequels, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like the prequels. I have respect for them. So
Would you do any of the pods? You ever thought about
pods.
building a pod?
like Pod Racer.
Yeah, like one of the pod
Yeah.
racers.
Potentially, it's lower on the list.
Yeah.
I like the ships. That are one of the reasons why I love Star Wars ships is like they're so versatile with their playability. Like that ship can then be taken to any planet within Star Wars realm. You can interact with any other ship. I like the pods, but they're stuck kind of on
Yeah.
Tatooine racing. They're
Yep.
to that one dimension to them. Whereas like the Millennium Falcon can get up and go anywhere.
Yep.
My kids can go build a planet mock around the Millennium Falcon. Han's visiting some crazy world. And there's so much play and creativity with ships because they can be picked up, moved to any planet, fight any other ship because they're up in space. And that's, a cool play element of Star Wars I really do love. And I'm not against the pods, but it just doesn't have quite the same thing.
Yeah. So if I were to make a request,
Go ahead.
I think maybe my favorite Star Wars vehicle is the Snowspeeder.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting one of those.
If you're ever gonna do that one, I think
definitely-
I will have to bite on that one for sure.
It's high up on the. It's so difficult because, like even in the movies, I think their feet were hanging out in those.
Like they don't actually make sense. Yeah,
And Lego minifigures are terribly scaled. They are way too wide, and so adapting it to Lego scale at my scale is very tough. I'm going to do it. Like I will figure out whether somebody's already built it. I'm gonna build their version or adapt it and make my own.
I don't know if it was you or not, but when you talk about like not making sense, the droid, like the R2 units that sit inside the Jedi starfighters that like literally like the top third of the
I made a post about that. After I made my Jedi Interceptor video, I stumbled across behind the scenes of the Jedi Interceptors and how the droids, like when they originally made them, like the guy who created it was like, yeah, this is really great. George loves it. And George is like, oh yeah, we're going to have to put the R2 unit. We're going to put R2 in there. He's like, wait, what? Like they didn't even plan to put them in there originally when they made the ship. So like I'm dealing with that type of, scale in real life.
Afterthought.
It doesn't even work in real life. And now I have to adapt it in Lego with something that's even larger than it is in real life. So yeah, scale can be an issue.
If you didn't have a budget constraint, is there something that you would build in Lego, like Star Wars Lego?
What's the dream build?
Well, the biggest constraint is time. I really like. I'd like to get to some bigger ships. I want to make a Fondor Hullcraft from Andor, Luthen's ship. Luthen's like one of my favorite characters. I love him.
Heck of a speech.
Yeah. Oh, I love that speech. His ship, so cool. I really want to build one of those. I'll probably get to it. But the more pieces you add in there, the more time it takes for me to get to. If there was a price issue. A Tantive 4. That'd be the one. I really like to get Tantive.
What an awesome ship.
Yeah, Tantive. Someday if I can get to that, it's gonna be at least a 4,000 piece ship, probably more. And it's gonna take up probably 2 or 3 feet. I haven't done all the math because I shrink it down. I don't want to, but like it's gonna be big. It's gonna be a big boy. So if it's possible, it might not even be something I can achieve. So
when you think about from episode 4, like that one single movie that came into existence, like the amount of incredible design, like just super cool design ships, it's kind of remarkable. Like you get
Mhm.
Oh
the
yeah,
Krylian Corvette, you get Star Destroyers, X-wings, Y-wings, Millennium Falcon,
yeah,
like TIE fighters. Like that's wild.
yeah. Yeah, I love the artwork, like seeing all the Ralph McQuarrie artwork from like even stuff
Yeah,
that didn't make it into the films, or they
yeah.
got adapted. It's just like,
Which is really
oh
cool that they've been now that Star Wars has existed for so long,
yeah,
they've gone back now and sort of reuse some
yeah,
of McQuarrie's like
Mando. Yep,
old concepts and yeah, which is really neat.
I love it. I love that stuff. It's so cool. Yep.
Well, Mr. Baufman, is there any other nuggets you want to share? Are we good? Any other thoughts you have before we
I'd
wrap
written
up?
down some stuff. I have a question for you guys. Did you guys have a favorite Lego set from your childhood?
Yeah, mine was Fort Leggerado. That
Yeah.
was the one because it was the first big set I ever got, and and now looking back on it, finding how much it cost,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
shocked my parents actually did it. And so to know that it was as expensive as it was, and it was like it was big. I mean, it was a
Oh yeah.
great
It's
size set.
fantastic.
So that was my favorite because I never thought I would get a Lego set like that.
Yeah.
So that was my number one.
Yeah, for me growing up, we were pretty dirt poor, and we so like I remember getting like a few very small Lego sets, but we did get from I believe it was somebody in our church actually. We got a big Rubbermaid tote that was just full of Lego. So we
Oh
didn't actually
yes.
have
Yeah.
a ton of sets, but we just built the heck out of that Lego. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like there was like I can remember distinctive sets like in my childhood. Like the first set I was able to build on my own was the Spirius robot. It was like this kind of like the smaller Spirius robot. And I remember getting it at the store, bringing it home, and my dad wasn't gonna be home till when he got off work. And my mom's like, "Well, you gotta wait for him to get home at 6." I'm like, I can do this. And I remember being at 6 years old. It's like that's the first time I built my own Lego set. So like, that was monumental. And then the first Lego set I bought with my own money was Aquanauts set. It was the yellow sub with like the big old like spear in the front.
Oh.
Um,
I
yeah,
think I had that. I
the
think I had that
Aquanauts were
one.
great. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I had a couple of those, the underwater,
yeah.
like submarine sets.
My
Yeah.
brother had the sharks. I forgot what they were called, but yeah, the orange and the blue shark Aquanaut evil guys, and I had the yellow and the blue. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, love that. And then I remember the Johnny Thunder. If I did all my chores over the whole summer, and some stuff my mom required me to do, she was going to buy me the big like Egypt set with the temple and the hot air balloon. So I just remember these like distinctive points in my childhood where like those sets were like the pinnacle of like yes. I've achieved something, and they feel like really big, like monumental points in my childhood with Lego. So uh,
Nice.
I miss that nostalgia and those original IPs because they were such a big part of my childhood.
Is there a franchise that right now, that Lego doesn't currently have that you would like to see them build, like a dream? Because I was just thinking, like we're having an episode coming up on like Ninja Turtles, and like to me, like that would be a fun one to build, like the van or something like that with Ninja Turtles. That'd be
I
kind of
think
cool.
I think Mega Bloks has Ninja Turtles.
Do they? But
Yeah, I
still,
think
again,
so.
it's
Did
not
Lego
Lego.
might have had it? Dude, there's some stuff that I missed completely. Where I just found out they did Powerpuff Girls. I had no like this. Like they've touched a lot of IPs that they just never developed. I
Okay.
I don't know. They've done SpongeBob. Like I was like, what? Like there's just some weird IPs they've touched. I don't know
Yeah,
if
there is
they've
some Ninja
touched.
Turtles Lego. There is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that sounded familiar.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of IPs they've touched. I'm like, they could do more with this. Like, go and that's the cool thing. They've done Lego Icons recently, where it's like they just make
Yep.
one-off sets of something. That's
Mhm.
why they're making Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
Doom. So like they'll do one-off sets where it's like there's not enough there to make a whole entire series, but they'll do one or two, and then maybe 5 years later they might do something else. So it is interesting, but yeah, a whole lineup or a whole new IP. I can't think of any off the top. Ninja Turtles that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, like it looks like there's more of the newer Ninja Turtles. Like when it's definitely under like the newer Nickelodeon branding stuff. So, and I don't think there's any big sets. And it definitely looks for like younger. So I'd be curious to see what they would do with like an 18 plus set for Ninja Turtles because
Yeah.
they do have. I don't know if you're familiar with the. Oh darn it! Now I'm trying to blank what it's called. The Last Ronin. That comic book line, which was done by the creators of Ninja Turtles, and it's
I'm
definitely for
familiar.
adults,
Yeah.
darker. So it's like I think they could do some adult themed Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles kind of stuff. But then I also think of some video game franchises that would be a lot of fun. Like I'm a big PlayStation guy, so I'm they're starting to get more into it. Like Horizon has a line
Yep. Yep.
of stuff, but I mean, like there's God of War, there's the Uncharted games,
They've
there's
done Fortnite.
yeah, they have
Lego.
Fortnite.
Yeah, I
They have
have
Yeah.
seen
yeah, the
Fortnite stuff,
Fortnite
yeah.
bus you can get
Oh,
and
I
like
mean, like they've done Minecraft,
Minecraft.
which
Yeah, yeah.
which is
That's a
like
that's a weird
it
one to me
it
because
it feels like it should be a match made in heaven,
yeah,
but like I don't know.
it's huge. Minecraft's huge. There's Lego creators out there that are making good mock money off of Minecraft builds. But like, I never touched Minecraft. I know if I did, I would love it because it's essentially digital Lego. But like, if I'm gonna build Lego, I'd rather just keep it all physical. So like,
Yeah,
I
I
never.
agree.
And then to build physical Minecraft, and this is weird to me. I don't know. It
Yeah,
didn't quite click for me.
yeah,
Pun intended.
yeah. All right. Well, Brent, this was a lot of fun. I mean, I
Same.
feel like we could keep talking Lego,
Oh,
and I'm sure
absolutely.
we will. And you know what? Maybe we need to. Ben and I are going to be doing a watch along of Andor when that comes out. So maybe that's something you could join us for an episode.
I would
Well,
love to
you
talk Andor. My
you know what we
best.
should do, Brent? Because the reason, like you said, that we kind of clicked together in the first place was with our Skeleton Crew watch along. Give us your 2-minute thoughts on Skeleton Crew now that it's all said and done. What did you
Oof.
think?
I really enjoyed it. I had similar thoughts to you guys. It was a fun, lighthearted romp. You know, like I was just like the whole time I was like, please don't make this gay. Please don't make it your agenda. Please don't make it liberal. Like, and they're like, yes, we got through. I'm like, whew. And then I showed it to my yeah, we made it through. I can show it to my kids, and it was really fun to watch it with them. Especially because like we haven't had a really good like Goonies or like coming of age story. I can't think of any in the last 10 years that I'd be like, oh, I need to show this to my kids. And that finally came along. I'm like, this is a fun romp. It's lighthearted. It didn't ruin any particular big lore aspects of Star Wars. I remember I did comment on one of you guys' videos where I'm like, I don't know about the ship tearing apart. That seems kind of dumb. Why would a ship do that? But then they answered it in the next episode, the finale. I'm like, oh, that's cool. He was a pirate who then disguised the midship
Yeah, yeah.
as a pirate ship. I was like, all right, so the demolition thing actually makes a little more sense because when I first saw that, I'm like, why would a ship do that? That makes no sense. And yeah, you can't pick apart that series for all the little details. There's like dumb but cool things that they do. Like don't think about it too much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As just a entertainment piece of Star Wars, I love it. It's um Andor and Skeleton Crew are completely opposite things, and I love both of them. I love Andor. I haven't shown it to my kids because it's a much more adult, espionage story that I really, really enjoy. I can't wait for my kids to get old enough to watch that. But like, I can go enjoy Skeleton Crew with my kids and just kind of turn off my, logical thinking brain.
Still be in the universe, but
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, we
agreed.
watched it with our kids, and we just finished it, I think, last weekend, and they adored it. They
Yeah.
had so much fun.
It was
And
fun.
so to bring it back real quick to Lego, do you think it would be possible to build the Onyx Cinder in such a way where it is the ship with the shell that actually detaches? Like, could that? Because
It-
Brent, there's an
it's-
idea for you.
It's possible. My problem is my scale because I would have to make it bigger than the one they currently have,
right,
and then
yeah.
it's
to,
gonna
to be able to get the inside
yeah, oh, at least some of
layer,
the details.
yeah.
I would condense it a lot in the inside. You wouldn't get nearly as much space as they have.
No,
in-
sorry, I just mean like to have like the ship within the ship.
Yeah,
You'd
yeah. Well,
almost have
that
to scale it up,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And the nice thing about Lego is like you can pop certain things off. So the detachable shell of it. That would be so tough. But like even just if you were to build just a ship by itself with the details inside that you want, like the kids interacting in the cockpit, like sitting at least two people beside each other, and that's only on the side of the ship. Your scale is going to be really big. It's going to be a 2-foot long ship in my scale that I would want to achieve.
Yeah.
It would be really, really difficult. It'd be a big one. Yeah.
All right. Well, the challenge has been thrown out there, Brent. All right. Well, why don't you just remind everybody where they can find you?
Baufman Bricks on YouTube. That's where most people interact with me. Most people aren't going to go into mocks. I get that. It's a big jumping off point. I'm hoping to ease people into it. I've had so many people comment on my videos. They're like, I've never done mocks until I saw your mocks, and that is the biggest compliment I can get. It's like
Mhm.
I made that person stop building just regular old Lego and get into MOCs because of what they saw on my YouTube channel. So that's the best place to interact is YouTube, comment, and I interact with people on there. And if you're willing to do the dive, then I'm on Rebrickable. I'm also on Instagram, but I'm very sporadic on Instagram. I'm an old school guy who I can't seem to pick up any new social medias. I know you guys are on Discord, and it's like I just can't pick up like anything new. I'm an old boomer, even though I'm a millennial. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do have a Lego dedicated channel in the
I know
Discord.
I've checked in every once in a
Yeah.
while. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so slow. I'm so bad at checking things.
Yeah.
I've relegated to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and like Instagram is barely hanging on. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, listeners, we'll be sure to have some links in there to your YouTube channel and to your store so people can go check out your stuff and hopefully go and buy something there. But yeah, brother, thank you for joining us. This was a lot of fun. And listeners, you will probably hear from Brent again in our Andor watch along because I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm just catching up on it. We're about halfway through the first
Yeah, because
season of it.
you never watched season 1.
I never did. And I didn't realize there was as many
Crazy.
episodes
Yeah.
as there were there. I think there's
Yeah.
12 episodes, and I think
Yeah.
I'm on episode 5 right now.
Did you guys see what they're doing with the release of season 2?
Yeah,
No.
3 episodes each week.
Yeah, they're not doing
Oh,
one
cool.
Yeah.
like they're because there's going to be like a time gap.
It's a year for
between-
each section.
Yeah, so there's like 3 episodes, then a year time gap, then 3 episodes, then a year time gap, then 3 episodes. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I'm excited because this is the biggest investment Disney's made in Star Wars in quite a while. Like this show has a pretty substantial budget, right?
Yeah.
Like the last one
Huge.
did. Like this
Absolutely
is
huge, yeah.
big budget, so I'm looking forward to finishing up. But anyways, well, listeners, thank you again for sticking around. Another long one, but hopefully you enjoyed. If you didn't, well, sorry, we love Lego and we're going to talk about it. So, Brent, thank you again for joining us. And listeners, just a reminder that you can watch all of our stuff on YouTube. You can check out our podcast on podcast services around the world. And you can also join us over at Patreon and our Discord community. But
which Brent is a member of, and
Brent
you
is.
may or may not be able to chat with him.
I'll
on
peek in.
Lego.
I'll creep in to see what you guys are doing. Yeah.
we will make sure that you know how to directly tag Brent and ask him very specific Lego questions. So, but until then, stay nerdy.